This young lady hails down in Fresno, California. She is called 3.0, graduated with 2 degrees out in San Diego. Her mom and dad are entrepreneurs. Her husband's an entrepreneur. His family's entrepreneurs. They flip gas stations. Oh, yeah, I know. Even the co-founders know them as the gas station flippers. But wait, hey, why not? They saw ECN. She says, this makes a lot of sense. Residual income. And we build this. We can have a time to start our family. They live in a beautiful part of Fresno, California. Always open their home up to me when I come to Fresno, California. And I can't say enough. I can go on and on. This lady, and she is just a dynamo. She's a leader. I hate to use the word influencer, but she is a very much of an influencer because the young superstar she is, doing a great job in this business, and also has a great husband who supports her, not 100%, but 1,000%. And I tell you what, she is one to follow and one to watch for. She is on track to be one of the next regional directors in our business. No, she's already regional director. She's on track to pop another regional director in our business. Without further ado, the great, the one and only incomparable Miss Natasha Ismail.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Did I beat Mr. Thomas? Was it a little bit faster than him? Just kidding. Good morning, Mr. Thomas. Thank you so much for having me on. And it's Monday morning, so I'm super excited. I don't know who else is excited.
It looks like you're ready to go to battle.
Oh yeah, it's on today. So I hope everybody's ready. If the person that gave me this is on here, I just need to see your face, because I went to Tahoe and people brought me gifts and I was just like, I was crying because is this what it feels like when you help somebody or change somebody's life just a little bit and they try to, thank you in a way, or meeting people that we've never met before. But anyway, so Mr. Thomas, I remember the first time that my husband and I met you, and it was at a Starbucks. Okay, guys, let me tell you, this man was in a Starbucks wearing a light pink Tommy Bahama shirt, like not long sleeve, okay? He was wearing shorts and flip-flops, and he had his rollie, okay? In a Starbucks. So when we walked in, we were like, is that Mr. Thomas? Like, he's so casual, and we're over here. I mean, we were casual too, but we were like, is that Mr. Thomas? And we just immediately knew. And as soon as we went up to him, just his energy and his charisma and the way that he just welcomed us, like he already knew who we were, and just, he was so excited for our future, a little more than we were, because we had no clue what we were about to get into, right? But from the moment that we've met Mr. Thomas, he has literally held our hand, and he's just that go-to person that we have in the business and even outside of the business. And I never thought that we would ever be so close to Mr. Thomas, or let alone anybody else on this call. We just never thought, Mr. Thomas, that we would have the bond that we have today. So I just want to tell you that we love you and we thank you for everything that you do. Thank you. I got the flying kisses too. They're all going all over the place. All right, so for those of you that don't know me, let me tell you a little bit about my story really quick. So right before I saw this business, I had just gotten my master's degree, as you guys can tell, right? I got my bachelor's, and then I was like, I'm not making enough money with that. Let me go back and get another one. So I got my master's degree and I started my own training business. And I still felt this little nagging feeling inside saying, this isn't it for you. I don't know if it was God. I don't know if it was the universe. I don't know what that voice was, but just this feeling of this isn't enough for you. I wasn't as happy or fulfilled as I thought I was going to be after I started my business. I loved what I did. I got to work with geriatrics, okay, with old people. And I love old people. So I told Miss Williams this weekend. I was like, I love old people, right? But there was something missing. And I knew that there was a bigger impact that I could be making versus working with people one-on-one. Yes, I'm helping them get healthy. Yes, I'm doing all of that, but something was missing. And here comes my friend from grad school. He's like, hey, we got to talk. You got to see this. We got to talk. You got to see this. And I was like, I blew him off 3 times, by the way. Blew him off 3 times. And finally on Instagram, and side note, I was praying for something. I was praying for a sign. I was praying for something to come my way that I could do, and I would be fulfilled, and I would be happy, and I would wake up and be excited about the day. And so on Instagram, my friend posts one of the conventions. It was empty, no music or anything. It was just the stadium. And I was like, where are you? What are you doing? And the rest is history. So that's what happened. Now, before we get started, I know a lot of you guys want to hear about Tahoe. And I did have my training set for whatever happened in Tahoe. But last minute, last night, God was like, I'm giving you something else. So I started writing and I could not stop writing. So you guys are getting that message today, but I promise you, I will give Tahoe, even if it's on like my YouTube or Instagram or whatever, but you'll get Tahoe. Okay. So I'm giving you guys that. Okay. Now, does anybody have this book, The Dream Giver? Yes, no. Okay. So the people that raise their hands, if it is in reach, go ahead and grab this book. If not, it's okay, because I'm going to read out of it. And this was on my heart because being in Tahoe with so many people, there was this one exercise that we did. And I know Mr. and Mrs. King talked about it yesterday, which everybody was so amazing last night. It was, reminiscing about Tahoe. But there were so many people that were new that didn't really have their goals or their dreams set. And we know that when you first start this business, you do get some negativity, just like with any other business or just like anything else. But you have to be willing to get through that negativity. You have to be willing to develop that mindset that you're going to be able to get through it. Or you're going to be one of the people that another one bites the dust, right? People come in and the first person says, well, I'm not doing that. And they let it go. They let go of their dream because somebody gave them their opinion that they didn't like. Now, for a second, think about it. How many of us have been so close to that point where we're like, you know what? I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if this is going to be worth it. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I don't know why I'm not finding people. I don't know. How many of us have gone through some part of that cycle, right? For those of you being honest, thank you. You don't have to raise your hand, but thank you. But how many of us have gone through that? And how many people buried their dreams because somebody else said, well, I'm not doing that. You're giving up the life that you see for yourself and your family because somebody said they're not joining you. Elon Musk, when he was working on SpaceX, do you know what his friend did? Mr. Shaquille Cooper talked about it 2 weeks ago. His friend literally took the time out to put together a compilation of rocket ships blowing up in order for him not to do SpaceX. And he made him sit there and watch it. Now, how many of us, honestly, just deep down inside, you don't even have to say anything or put it in the chat, how many of us would have stopped? If your friend made you sit there and look at rocket ships blowing up when you're trying to create one, telling you, hey, don't do it. Now, did he go through with it? Yes, he did. Why? Because he had a vision. And I've said it before, you can't expect others to see what you see when God didn't give them your vision. He gave it to you. It's yours. He gave it to you for a reason. If he didn't think you could carry it out, trust me, you would not have it. You would not have it. And that's something I had to come to terms with. What I saw and what I felt for this company, what I felt for this industry, where I see us going, not everybody understands it. When Mr. Tony Kupas was talking this weekend, the vision that he painted for us, he said, why can't you have 100 million in billing volume? Why can't you have thousands of reps joining your team every single month, all around the world? Why not you? People say, well, why are you doing that? Why not? Why not? Give me a good reason. The next time somebody tells you, the next time somebody says, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? I want you to say one thing to them that's going to shut them up. You guys ready? Why not? Why not? Give me a reason. I bet you they're not going to say anything after that. You know why? Because they haven't thought about it that far. They wish they had the guts to do what you're doing right now. They wish they had the guts to follow their dream. Just because you are, people are going to try to stop you. And I'm going to stop right there before I get into my message, because I'm like going a little bit ahead of myself because I'm a little excited today. Okay. And the camo just doesn't help. The camo just adds to it, right? Just, prepares me. Okay. So for those of you that have the book, The Dream Giver, I'm on page 13. Page 13. Okay. Ordinary embraces his big dream. So this is ahead a little bit. So for those of you that have not read the story, you'll kind of get the gist of it, and then you'll get the message. Okay. Now, I'm going to read this to you. You guys ready? We ready? Okay. Not long ago and not far away, a nobody named Ordinary lived in the land of familiar. Ooh, just pretend there's like wind and stuff going, okay? All right. Every day was pretty much the same for Ordinary. In the mornings, he got up and went to his usual job. After work, he ate almost the same dinner he'd eaten the evening before. Then he sat in his recliner and watched The Box that mesmerized most nobodies on most nights. Sometimes best friend came over to join Ordinary in front of the box. Sometimes Ordinary went to his parents and they watched together. For the most part, not much happened in familiar that hadn't happened before. Ordinary thought he was content. He found the routines reliable. He blended in with the crowd. And mostly, he wanted only what he had. Until the day Ordinary noticed a small, nagging feeling that something big was missing from his life. Or maybe the feeling was that he was missing from something big. He wasn't sure. The little feeling grew. And even though nobodies in familiar didn't generally expect the unexpected, Ordinary began to wish for it. Time passed. Then one morning, Ordinary woke up with these words echoing in his mind. What you're missing, you already have. Could it be? Ordinary looked and looked, and then he discovered that in a small corner of his heart lay a big dream. The big dream told him that he, a nobody, was made to be a somebody and destined to achieve great things. Jumping out of bed, Ordinary discovered something else, a long white feather resting on the sill of his window. Where did it come from? What did it mean? With the jolt of excitement, Ordinary decided he'd been visited by the Dream Giver. Now, Ordinary had heard rumors of various nobodies in familiar waking up to a big dream, but he had never imagined that it could happen to him. He rushed to get dressed, his big dream beating brightly in his chest. He couldn't wait to get to his usual job and tell his best friends the news. But on his way to work, Ordinary realized he had a problem. His big dream was too big for a nobody like Ordinary. He would be embarrassed to tell everyone. Even best friend would probably laugh. Still, Ordinary was too excited to keep his dream to himself. As soon as he saw his best friend, he blurted out the news. The Dream Giver gave me a big dream. I was made to be a somebody and destined to achieve great things. Best friend looked surprised, but he didn't laugh. That's very big, he said. But if I were you, I wouldn't talk about this dream of yours too much. Nobody's around here might take you for a fool. Ordinary didn't want to look like a fool. So after that, he kept his big dream to himself. Day after day, Ordinary showed up at his usual job. But while he worked, he thought about his dream. He thought about how wonderful it would be to do what he loved to do instead of just dreaming about it. Ordinary's longing for his big dream grew and grew until finally he realized that he'd never be happy unless he could pursue it. Why didn't the Dream Giver make it possible? If the Dream Giver didn't, how could Ordinary ever leave familiar? He had payments and expenses. He had regular duties. A lot of nobodies counted on him for a lot of things. Ordinary felt completely stuck. Time passed, but nothing changed. He began to hate his usual job. This isn't what I was made to do, he said to himself. I just know it. After a while, he began to worry that maybe he hadn't received a big dream after all. Maybe he just made it all up, and he grew sadder and sadder by the day. One evening after work, Ordinary went to his parents to watch the box, but their box was broken, so the house was very quiet. It was even more quiet because his mother was out shopping at Familiar Foods. In the quietness, Ordinary started to think about his dream again. He looked over at his father sitting in his recliner, staring at the single page of Nobody's News. Maybe he could help. Father, said Ordinary, I'm growing sadder and sadder by the day. I don't like my usual job anymore. In fact, I think I hate it. Father looked up. That's terrible, he said. What happened? Before he could stop himself, Ordinary started talking about the dream giver and about his big dream. I was made to be a somebody and achieve great things, he said. And then he told his father the name of his dream. As he spoke, his voice trembled. He was not sure that father would laugh or call him a fool, but his father didn't. I'm not surprised to hear you say these things, he said. You're not? Said Ordinary. No, his father said. You've had that dream ever since you were little, don't you remember? You used to build that same dream with sticks and mud in front of this very house. Then Ordinary did remember. He'd always had his dream. It was what he'd always wanted to do and what he'd always thought he'd be good at doing. His father's eyes filled with tears. Father, he said, I think I was born to do this. Ordinary and his father sat together quietly. His father seemed to be remembering something too. After a while, he asked, when you woke up to your big dream, son, did you happen to find a feather? Ordinary was shocked. How did you know? He asked. A long time ago, I woke up to a dream too, his father said, and it came with a long white feather. It was a wonderful dream. I kept the feather on my windowsill while I waited for a chance to pursue it. I waited and waited, but it never seemed possible. One day, I noticed the feather had turned to dust. Of all the sad words Ordinary had ever heard, these were the saddest. Before he left that night, his father hugged him. Don't make the same mistake I did, son, he said. You don't have to stay a nobody. You can be a dreamer. How many of us felt that story? How many of us ever dreamt when we were little? Now, how many of us noticed that the bigger we got, the smaller our dream got? And why did it get smaller? Because of people, because of things that happened in our life that we weren't prepared for, because of the way that people made us feel, or because we suppressed our own feelings. So that gut feeling that we have, why are we suppressing that gut feeling that God gives us to guide us, and we still sit there and pray for something, right? How many of us have even met people like that? They'll sit there and they'll pray for something, they'll pray for something, they'll pray for something. Yes, Ms. Gail, I got you. We'll pray for something, and when it comes your way, you're just like, that's not it. When you get a present at Christmas time, just because it's not in the wrapping paper that you thought it was going to be, do you throw it away and say, I don't want that gift? No, you open it, you look at it, you check it, right? And then you see if you like it or not. But if you just deny the gift based on the wrapping or the packaging, how are you ever going to know what's in it? Let me tell you a story that happened this past weekend, not this weekend, the weekend before. I was talking to a friend and her husband. I'm not going to say any names or anything, who they were. And the husband asked me, he's like, hey, Tosh, so how's your guys, I heard you guys bought a house. How big is it? Blah, blah, blah. And I told him the square footage, and he looks at me and he's just like, why? That's so big. What are you going to do with it? First of all, He made me feel bad for my dream. He made me feel like crap that I had like a decent sized house. And I was like, why not? What do you guys think he said after that? Do you guys think he responded after that? No, he didn't. But I said, why not? Why not? So many times when you're trying to leave the land of familiar, people are going to say anything and do anything to try to hold you back. Think about the ones that people said were crazy that had a dream. Martin Luther King, it's even his speech, I had a dream. Edison told people, hey, I'm going to do something and there's going to be light. People probably thought he was insane. The Wright brothers, oh, we're going to fly like birds in the sky. Okay, tell me how that went. We probably still wouldn't have been flying unless they went through with it, which they did. But imagine if they would have stopped. Elon Musk, imagine if he would have stopped. Jeff Bezos, imagine if he would have stopped. I don't even know how many like hundreds of thousands of dollars he makes every second, which is like unfathomable when you look at the numbers. Okay. So let me ask you this then. Anytime you are trying to advance, without adversity, there is no advancement. Okay. There's no advancement without adversity. So when I told them our house and everything, they were like, well, why? Why do you need that? Why do you want that? Why not? Give me a reason. Why not? You didn't see the 10 plus years that my husband and I busted our butt. We worked, we saved. I was working 3 jobs at one point, and you guys know that we own businesses too. But the business owners get the leftovers. You have to make sure everybody else is paid before you get paid. You have to make sure that taxes, this, that, overhead, whatever, everything is paid before you get the leftovers. And plus, if the store needs inventory, guess where that's coming out of? Yours. He made me feel so small and bad for a second about the dream that I had, that I had to literally snap myself out of it. Number one, before I like popped off, but I wouldn't have done that, right? But don't ever let anybody else make you feel small or you feel bad for however small, medium, or large your dream is. When you're going for a better life, when you're going for advancement, when you're trying to get out of the land of familiar, when you're tired of just watching the box, when you're tired of just being a nobody named ordinary in the land of familiar, when you're trying to get out, you're trying to have a better life, you're trying to break the cycle, you're trying to honor the sacrifices that your family's made. When you're trying to do that, people are going to say anything and do everything in their power to make you stop. Because when you make it, when you move forward, when you are out there doing your thing and they look back and there's nobody there, they look forward, they see you, your success, write this down if you want to, your success is their constant reminder of the risk they never took. Your success is the constant reminder of the risk they never took. When we hit RD, do you know how many people were like, oh, well, you already, you started a while ago. You already did it. It's too late for me now. Excuse me? When we started, let me ask you this. Does everybody have the option to advance their life? Yes or no? Yeah, of course. Does everybody take that option? No. Just because somebody else wasn't willing to take the risk, don't let them ever take your dream away from you or make you feel bad for going after your dream. Everybody has the same chance. Now, let's go back to 17 really quick, and then I'm gonna close out. Okay, what did his father say? Before he left that night, his father hugged him. He said, don't make the same mistake I did, son. You don't have to stay a nobody. You can be a dreamer. So I'm going to ask you, when you get to the end of your life, whenever that is, and nobody knows when that is, will you be the father saying that to your kids, or will you be the kid and actually be the one that goes for your dream? Will you be the one saying, you know what? Don't be like me. How many of us have heard that, by the way? How many of us have heard that either from our parents, or they're telling you, well, honey, you can do whatever you want to do. And it's like, well, mom, why didn't you? Dad, why didn't you? Grandma, what was your dream? Why didn't you go for your dream? Grandpa, what was your dream? Why didn't you go for your dream? How do you even respond to that? How do you respond to that? Be the person that had the guts to go for it. Be the person that changes your family tree. Stop suppressing your dream in order for other people to feel comfortable. Stop playing small so others don't feel threatened. Stop expecting others to see what you see when God didn't give them your vision. You go after your dream. You go make it happen. You go change your family's life, because if you don't do it, I guarantee you nobody else is going to do it. And then pretty soon you're going to have kids, you're going to have grandkids. They're going to be looking at you, well, Mom, why didn't you go for your dream? Mom, what did you want to be when you grew up? Oh, well, I was doing this thing and I was doing really good. And I was going to go to the top of the company. I was building a company within a company. Well, what happened to that, Mom? Because we're still in an apartment and we're still driving a beat up car. I mean, my friends have better cars than that. My friends live in big houses. Why don't we? How do you even respond to that? I don't know why God told me to give this today. I don't know who needed to hear this today, but I really pray that it hit at least one person minimum. You don't have to be a nobody. You can be a dreamer. And guess what? You are. You're here for a reason. That dream you saw when you first started, that kept getting bigger and bigger as time went on in the company, you hold on to that, and you do not let anybody ever tell you that you can't do it. Ever. I don't care if you're young, if you're old, if you're blue, if you're purple, I don't care. This opportunity does not care. A computer does the promotions. A computer does all of the numbers and everything. You don't have to worry about politics here. You don't have to ask somebody for time off here to go to a freaking funeral. You don't have to ask somebody time off to go watch your grandkids playing soccer at their first game. You don't have to ask permission. Can I go to the bathroom? What? You don't have to do that here. You run your life here, but how are you going to run it? Are you going to run it? Or are you going to let somebody run your life for the rest of your life? You don't have to be a nobody. You can be a dreamer. So every single person hearing my voice right now is a dreamer. I don't care what anybody says. Okay? I love you guys. And that's my time. So Mr. Thomas, if you're there, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to you.